Hello there. Does any of this sound familiar to you at all? I am too tall, I am too short. I am too skinny. If only I was shorter, taller, had curly hair, straight hair, smaller nose, longer nose, I'd be a lot happier. I wonder if there is an ideal body image. What does body image really mean? Well, today I have two guests with me on set who have both walked the journey of body image and self-esteem. Before I welcome them on set today, take a look at who they are. Ladies, hi. Thank you so much for coming today. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really loving that green and the gold.
Thank you. I know.
Girl, you're serving it.
Thank you so much.
What is that? What is that cake?
This is some sort of African cake.
I kind of like it. There's a bit of a oomph to it because it's different from the normal usual cake that you
dressing. So you put on this, like just
regular
black dress and just throw it on, and it looks like you made an effort.
I like it. I particularly didn't mention, and I didn't compliment her because I wanted the compliment to come very natural and real.
Sweet, Joe. You're so cool.
But that's lovely. Thank you so much for joining. So before we go into today's topic of body and image, because I know that both of you are very, it's like a passion for you. I think what would be good is for our viewers to know a little bit more about you. So I'm just going to pass on to Bola. Tell us, who is Bola Obileye?
Okay, Bola Obileye, I often describe myself as an onion. So many layers to me. I'm a designer, I'm a singer-songwriter, and more recently, I'm a weight loss coach.
Yes, that's the part I want to hear now, because listen, I need to get all of this out.
Oh, please, you look amazing.
I need the flat belly, and I'm one of those that complain I need to be this particular size. So we're going to talk about that, yeah?
No,
right, yeah, thank you. Thanks so much for joining us today. So over to you, Ngozee. Tell us a bit more about you.
Thank you, Joe. Yes, I love what Bola said, but mine is a lot simpler than Bola's. I'm a model and an actress and a TV presenter, and body image is important to me for what I do. I wouldn't say I'm crazy passionate about it, but it's very,
easy
very
for you to say, girl, because your body is, so I can understand why.
I put my own work in as well, so But yeah, thank you for having me, Joe.
Great. Thanks for joining, ladies. So on the topic of body image and self-esteem, I think this topic is so key because as women, we struggle, and it's like, we keep struggling. So I think before we kind of go into that, let's first understand, what does body image mean? And I'll pass that to you, Bola. What does body image mean?
I think for me personally, I would look at it from how I see myself. When you look at the mirror, who do you see? Who do you think you are? Because everything starts from the inside of you. When you look at yourself and you're not confident in the way you look, or you're not happy with anything about yourself, it spills over. And you project it to other people. You think they're speaking to you because of who they think you are. However, everything is actually being made up in your own mind. Yeah. So for me, body image is about just looking at who you are, starting with yourself, and in one or two words, describing yourself. Do you like who you are? Do you love your body? Are you confident in who you are? Are you confident in what other people see? And it all starts from there. And obviously for other people it might mean different things, but for me it's obviously we're going to get to a point where I talk about my journey, but it's about looking at myself in the mirror now and saying, I like you.
I'm feeling you, girl. Like you just I'm feeling myself. But I do agree. I really do. You have to look at yourself in the mirror and ask the mirror, who's the most beautiful girl in this one? The mirror said, "Child, it's you, baby."
I mean, in all honesty, we always have bits that we always still want to fix about ourselves,
of course,
and that's always going to make us human. Yes. That's the part
wanting more,
always going to separate us, and always going to prove to us that we're alive. We always want to better who we are. But it's always good to have a starting point where you're just okay with where you are, and then you can start building up from there.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much. Ngozee, so I'm going to pass over to you. Self-esteem, we will define it. So given that, I've got the right body image and I feel good about myself, how does that play into my self-esteem?
Well, personally, I think self-esteem, if you go by what Bola has said, and that's so correct, because body image obviously is very, very subjective. Everybody sees themselves differently. And depending on how you see yourself, how good or bad you see yourself, it plays into your self-esteem. I think, obviously for me, on a personal note, if I feel good, my self-esteem is like right there, and nobody can bring me down. And it just feeds into the fact that actually it's not people who define your self-esteem. You define,
absolutely.
Absolutely. So it depends on how you feel and how you take yourself and value yourself. So for me, I'm always thinking I need to, no matter what happens, feel good about myself, look good, feel good. And actually, here's a tip: on the days you don't feel good, go out there, pretend you do anyway. You know, I always say to my friends, when you step out and your jeans rip, make like you meant it to look like that.
Yeah,
that's what self-esteem is all about.
That's a good one. Really. And I think with self-esteem, there's a borderline between being overly confident. Do you know what I mean? Because people then tend to look at you and think, you think you're the best thing since sliced bread.
But do you really care?
Do you know, I like you, you're my kind of girl.
You shouldn't
because
care.
I always say, there's this thing that I've been saying this a lot. I think there's a lot going on online now where people are saying, if you don't celebrate yourself, who will do?
Who will do?
But again, there is that borderline of, okay, you're overdoing it now. Take a back
have you noticed how the people who always think you're overdoing it are those who don't do at all?
I agree. 100%.
They just sit and watch.
They just sit and watch.
Doing it.
Exactly.
I agree.
So if you bring your game on and another woman is bringing her game on, you feel her. You're always like, hey, I like you.
Yes, girl, you're giving us.
But if you're not bringing anything on and people come about, anything they do is a big deal.
It's a big deal.
Why is she doing that?
Yeah.
And why are you
all over my timeline?
Exactly. So if you feel good, honey, put it out there.
Put it. And I know, Bola, that's what you do. You couldn't care less. Like, you all over everybody's timeline.
Well, you know, the funny thing is, I always just go by what I feel. If I'm having a good day, I celebrate me. I look at myself like, I'm going to take I'm just going to put a selfie on that.
Yeah.
And if I'm having a bad day or whatever, I'm like all chilled out. But if I'm having a good day,
we know
that Instagram will hear about it.
Absolutely. We know. And I must commend you. I know you know, at least I've known you for many years now. And well done. That's all I'm going to say. Like,
thank you.
Each time I look at you, I'm just like, girl, where are you disappearing to? I mean, for the benefits of our viewers, Bola was a size 16 before?
16 going on 18. And then when it started getting a bit tighter.
Yes, and I know that she went through that journey where she was trying to say, so how do I do it? It's not easy, but I don't know how you went from it's not easy to looking this smoking hot. So I think for the rest of this segment today, it would be good for us to talk about real life issues, how the body is impacted, how we've worked on that. So I'm going to come to you, Ngozee, later, where you talk about it as a model, as a TV presenter, importance of ensuring you look good, you feel good, you're confident with yourself. Yeah. So I'm just going to pass over to you, Bola. In 2 minutes, without taking over the whole show, tell us a little bit about how you were able to walk the journey, walk the path.
Well, in 2 minutes, let me see if I can cram it all into it. I think it got to a stage in my life where I felt that I wasn't happy with a lot of areas of my life. I wasn't happy about my weight. I was happy about my marriage, but I didn't feel that, everything was the way it was when we started. I didn't really feel sexy anymore. And it wasn't about anyone telling me. It was about me being real with myself. Because I would have people comment and say, oh, you've got a big tummy. And it never really used to bother me. I'm like, you don't know anything about my tummy. Stay away. But the minute it started to bother me, I knew I had to do something about it. Because I knew that it had started to spill into other areas of my life. So I took a back seat, started asking, found some of my friends that had lost weight or just had really good, there were people called body goals. So I had about 6 or so friends that had the perfect body that I wanted, and I called them my body goals, and I used to check them out every day.
But you always have to have a goal and then have little milestones sort of to get to where you need to get to. So I do agree with you.
So I started checking them out, started asking them questions.
I was one of those 6 people.
So I started asking them questions. What do you do? And I started looking for ways to get the body that I wanted. And luckily for me, you know what they say, when you seek, you find. I got a lot of people feed into me what I should be eating, what I shouldn't be eating. I started working on myself. So it wasn't about anyone really feeding anything into me. I really, really wanted to just improve me as a person, and I was doing it for me.
For yourself.
But I'll tell you what, at one point it became a health issue as well. So I had to look at, I really then needed to do it. But somehow along the line, when I was getting into the shape I wanted, vanity kind of like sort of did.
She's the vanity queen now. Like, listen, I agree. But you know what? I totally agree. You have to celebrate this, and that's why I said, some people kind of struggle. You've done an amazing job. So why shouldn't you?
It went away from just being a health issue, and I want to do this issue. Like, I like you. So I really wanted to keep it up. So that's what has kept me. It's been over a year now, coming up to 2 years that I've lost weight, and it's amazing because I found a new me.
Yes.
I speak louder. Yeah. Normally I wouldn't say I'm quiet, but I speak louder now. I say my thoughts. I challenge people.
Okay. So
and I do it without thinking about, they're looking at my tummy, they're looking at my legs. I do it
just because of how you feel. Like, I just feel good, my presence. You must recognize that I'm here.
So, so that's, in terms of body image and the topic today, I think it's the best thing you can do for yourself. And if you can ever be at a point, I was saying to you earlier, there's a big lady that I saw. You don't have to be skinny. For me, that's what worked for me. There's some people that are quite large, but in terms of their self-esteem, they've got it all together. I can't proudly say I was one of those people. I thought I got on with life. I was still like in people's face, getting dressed and all that. But looking at who I was then and who I am now,
definitely very different. I was
definitely in a different place.
Let's just park. Thanks so much for sharing your journey. I think that's very insightful. Hopefully someone is watching there and thinking, how can I do this? Well, now you know. And I'm just going to pass over to you, Ngozee. Given you're a model, TV presenter, I know you say you're not passionate about it. Girl, because you look good. So of course, it's not an issue. But tell us how body image, the importance of it in your industry.
It is very, very important, Joe, obviously. Very important. Because no matter how much we say, I love myself, I don't care what people think. At the end of the day, we really do care. You may not come out and say, because of what they told me you may not actually admit it, but we do care. Because at the end of the day, community as a whole decides what norms are. And whether we like it or not, we are creatures of norms. We tend to follow norms whether we like it or not, to a degree. Absolutely. And so the ones that I find are the ones that don't follow the norms are those people that I think are like the punks, and they have the piercings and tattoos and
they really don't care.
So relatively, the rest of us are relatively normal. We'll follow a certain pattern. And so because of that, it's very, very important, body image in the things that I do. But I also have issues with it in the sense that as a model, I'm finding if I even add a tiny bit of weight on, it's a problem. Because then you get on, you get to work and it's like you're supposed to be a size 6.
And then you're an 8.
And you're an 8, or you're bordering on a 10. And, like, just before I did London Fashion Week for February, a designer said to me, "Oh, you've gotten fat."
Oh, dear.
And I'm not sure how that made me feel. Obviously, my head said, of course you're not fat. But I think that the emotions behind it was like, what do you... it meant something, and I didn't like it. But here's the trick, though, or here's rather the tricky thing. If I'm not fat, why did it bother me?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That's the key thing.
Why did it bother me?
That is the key thing.
So it's all about self-esteem, and I had to like train my mind and say to myself, girl, you need to either learn to be comfortable with who you are now and not bother, or do something if you're not comfortable, like you said.
That's amazing.
When you get to a point.
I really like the fact that you brought that up, because a lot of difficulties that people have is being honest with themselves.
Yes.
And I keep saying, as part of my new voice, just be your own truth.
That's right.
Accept your truth.
Yeah.
And it would just open up new paths
for you.
But if you keep fighting it, look at how you've gone away and you've thought about it. That for this to have bothered me, that means there's something inside of me. And you've taken that away.
And I've taken that and worked on it.
Amazing.
And the other thing that made me feel better is that I'm saying to myself, actually, this just goes to show that you don't know what other people are battling and the things that they're going through. People see me and go, oh my God, you look fit. Your body shape is amazing. I have fibroids. I've suffered with fibroids for years. It's a big issue for me. Some days I wake up and my tummy is so swollen and I'm like, oh my God. Some days it makes you put on so much weight. You don't know what you're doing with yourself. And those are issues I have to battle, but find ways to deal with them. But most importantly, go out there and not think, if somebody looks at me,
Exactly. And there's something I always say, and I think it's something that I try to do for my little girl now, is letting her know that she is beautiful.
Exactly.
Believing that.
Believing
so
that.
it doesn't matter. Whatever compliment you, when you do get compliments, it's almost like, I know that, but thank you very much. You don't need people to reaffirm,
what you're
kind of tell
know.
exactly what, and there's also that bit of, you need to, like Bola said, you just need to be confident in yourself. So regardless of whether or not they tell you, why is your hair like this, or why is your shoe like this, or why, you kind of go like, well, I checked the mirror before I left the house, and I was good then.
Exactly.
So it's, you kind of need to have that confidence.
You do. And that body image is not just obviously about our bodies and with how slim we are and stuff. I'm having, like, I cut my hair recently, and I just thought, you know what, I'm going to chop it off and do my thing. And let me tell you, for years, I've been grey since I was about 17. But because you see people here, you're like, no, everybody's so obsessed.
But I love this hair though, girl. You're bringing it on.
Thank you, Jo.
This is so different.
Like, everybody gets obsessed with, are you getting older? You're doing this, and then I'm thinking, my mother went grey at about 18, 19, like completely. Her whole hair turned white, and I'm always dyeing my hair like, no. But it all stems into self-esteem,
embracing yourself. I think you've just got to embrace who you are, and then just let that breathe through you.
And the moment
out.
you do, the funny thing is, the moment you do, everybody else embraces it with you. And
it's because of the confidence you are carrying it. You know what I mean? You have to carry. For people to sell it well, for people to accept what you're saying or showing, you need to carry it gracefully. I mean, she has.
No, Bola has it.
Even with her vanity, she's carried it in such a way that you don't even look at. You don't look at her and think she's vain. Like, there's a way she carries it. If I try to do that, they probably say she's get out of my timeline. But she's done it in such a way that you don't even know.
I've never thought vain, but
that's what I'm saying. You'd never think, but she knows with it. She always says, and I've heard her a few times say, I feel so vain. I look at the mirror. It's almost like she says, I'm full of myself, but it's okay. I'm loving me.
Absolutely.
But you have to feel that way, and then people receive that aura, and they kind of, just relate. Yeah, they kind of do that.
I mean, if I go back to, because I've always liked the 50s, and obviously you can tell from my hair. And I remember when I started wearing my hair like this and wearing 50s clothes and the rest of it, and some people would look at you and say,
"You crazy? What is this?
Do you always dress up like this?" And I'm like, "Yes." They ask you all their questions, and you go, "Yes, yes, yes. I always dress up like this. I always do my hair like this." And the minute you get to like number 10. They accept you and they're like,
they're different.
But at first, people, I think they're maybe scared of change, or maybe people are not confident enough to just be.
No, I think what it is people think maybe you're going through a crisis.
Check that you're okay.
They're gonna go, I'm just checking to make sure you're not going through any crisis or anything. Everything is okay. And the moment they go, okay, it's not crisis. Okay, this is here to stay. Okay, I'm loving this your new haircut. Okay. Then now, let's do it.
She's saying, she's doing it. She knows what she's doing.
She's like, it's amazing. So I think what would be good, given that you guys are experts, and I said you're experts in this particular area, because one, you're a model, you're a TV presenter, and you've walked that journey, and you started doing this product. So do you want to talk to us?
So since I lost weight, I've been helping other women that want to lose weight. Even though it's free at the moment, I love to do it because I know what it's done for me, what it's done for my marriage. My husband is like, he keeps saying to people that he's married 2 women in his life, a fat one and a skinny one. And he knows what he likes. So my marriage is exciting. My life is exciting. So, and I want women to feel that way. So that's the new me.
And what's the product called again?
Well, the brand is called Keto to Go.
To Go.
The other things are going to flow out of it. I also teach people how to cook, skinny chef, and it's just all about that new lifestyle thing and women finding themselves. I think for every woman, you have to give to somebody else. Once you found, for me, it's freedom. It felt like I was in a cage for a long time, and now I've discovered I'm a woman. I've discovered that I can be anyone you want to be. And why should any other woman feel like I've got 3 kids now, I can't do anything? We should just enjoy our lives, the full journey.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you so much. So I'm just going to ask both of you questions, and that's something we're going to leave to our viewers out there.
Okay.
So the question is, what are the steps that I need to take as a woman to improve on in my body image, which helps me, obviously, in the journey of my self-esteem? So if you were to say, not in one word, but in 20 seconds, to our listeners and our viewers now, what would you say?
I would say be honest with yourself, accept your truth, live your truth, and work. Change anything that needs to be changed. Nobody's going to do it for you. You own your life. One life. Enjoy it to the max.
Thank you very much. Ngozee, if you would say one thing?
I completely concur with everything that Bola has
She
said.
is just concurring with everything.
She's
Hallelujah, I know, right?
Got it going. You do. Like, you're so right. Be honest with yourself. If there's something you're not happy about, work on it. Identify. Just be honest. It may be painful, but hey, no pain, no gain, as they say. So work on what you're not happy with. And, if we all get looking like Bola.
Fantastic, I know, right? Thank you so much, guys. Now, that's it for us in this segment. What I'm just going to add to this is be consistent in everything you do. If you know you want to walk in the path to improve your body image, in order to build your self-esteem, you have to be determined and you have to be consistent, because there's no result without consistency. Now we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll be talking about something a little bit more less tense, which is to move in or not to move in before marriage. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys, to the second segment of today's episode, where things are going to be a little bit chilled, and we probably have a little bit of seed fast discussing this topic on the subject matter of should I move in or not move in before marriage. I think this is something that we're still constantly talking about, whether or not we're constantly fighting about the African in us and the westernized part of us. We're about to find out what these beautiful ladies think about this. Still with us on set today is Ngozee and Bola. Ladies, now let's talk about this. This is a little bit more chill. I can kind of just take a backseat and say, let's talk about this. So I think the first topic was a little bit more, we had to get it all out.
Do you think this is a little bit more chilled? If your mom heard you, what would she think, really?
I'll just say to our mom, things that, easy, just chill. Our life is a lot, things are changing right now.
I'm just thinking now that, should I say the truth? I'll preserve my past? Or should I say what you want to hear?
Okay, we're going to play it very easy. Let's do question and answer, and then we'll do a little bit of interrogation.
Okay.
So, moving or not to move in before marriage? There's no in between, yes or no? Moving or not moving?
Do as I do or do as I want?
No. Moving or not moving?
Do as I say or do as I did? You want like?
Okay. No. Moving or not moving?
Not moving.
Okay, you better make sure you're holding your thoughts on that one. Ngozee, moving or not moving?
Definitely not.
What?
Definitely not.
The show is over. What?
Okay.
The show, we're done. That's it. Don't move in, okay? Because they said don't move in.
Well, you wouldn't let me take a middle ground.
No, there is no middle ground. There is no middle ground.
But there are reasons.
No. Okay, now, so now we're about to get into things. Because obviously, I know that you saying don't is because it's our very African black,
indeed.
Our culture and a bit of biblical backings. You can, even though a lot of us probably did, but it's like we don't want our kids watching this and thinking, oh yeah, well sure, my mom said like 20 years ago I could move it, I better be moving it. No, we don't want that.
So people call me and have a few words.
Exactly. I get that, but I think we're about to go into why we're saying no, and the way things are right now, because we know that things are changing right now. So now you're saying no, Bola. You got to back that up. So why?
Okay. So it's a tricky one for me because I always try to preach my truth to people, but I'm not sure if it's something I can advise everyone to do because it also depends on your willpower. And a lot of people, when I was like, I've been married now for 15 years, and before we got married, we had a time that my husband and I stayed together, but we had some kind of agreement thing. It was a secret thing. Nobody knew that we were staying together. At least nobody in the church knew. But we were not staying together all of the time. Right. We had times on and off. Yeah. He would be at his cousin's if we were just in late to sleep over. But we never, ever slept together.
We didn't ask that question, girl. She's trying to put it out there.
And the reason
that we didn't do all of that
until we got married. And the reason why I say this is that there are not a lot of men that would let you get away with that. And I know that we had times that we were almost there.
Yeah.
But somehow we managed till we got married. And the reason why I say
how long was that period for?
Well, we dated for 2 years before we got married. Yeah. But when we started our sneaky business, it was more like maybe 6 months before we got married. Okay. So it was in and out and all of that. But it was almost as though we were living together.
Okay.
I love her honesty. I love her honesty. Her truth, like she says, I love it. Saying no has absolutely nothing to do with, the Bible or culture. Absolutely nothing. It's a personal thing. Okay. For me, I always feel like I want each experience I have in my life to be something new. That is where I'm coming from entirely. Right. It's nothing to do with, don't do it because your mama said so, or because, you're a Christian, for whatever reason, everybody's got their own reason. But for me, I just feel like I want to be able to say, now we're married, it's a completely new experience. Let's start the experience. That's how I feel.
So is it true? So there is this myth of if you live together, in Nigerian terms, see finish. So if you live together before marriage for however long, that means there's nothing new in the marriage anymore, so you wouldn't get yourself excited and all of that.
I almost feel like that, and that is where my no is coming from. I almost feel like that. Does that make sense? That's me personally. I do.
Well, yes and no. I think that see finish issue has to do with a woman and a man. You can be with a man for a week and he sees you finish. You can be with him for 11 years, and 15 years. For me, there's certain things up until today that I don't do in front of my husband that I think is my private business. Like farting, for example. I'm sorry. I think it's rude for women to just do things like that in front of even my kids. You don't get things. Some people would just go boom, and you want the guy to see you as magic.
What do you do?
I'm sorry.
She had a face on.
I'm sorry. I had to just pull that out. I think every woman needs to keep a bit to herself.
Should I speak my God? Okay, so growing up, my grandfather, you walk him. He was a bit disabled, before he died. May his soul rest in peace. And you'd literally have to walk him up the stairs, stand behind him. Dude, the dude takes the steps, he farts. You dare not. You dare not say anything. He'll say, you're a fool. So you had to just take it gracefully. And he always says there's no house for farting. You know what I mean? So
that's true. There isn't a house.
There isn't a house.
No, is that
No, that's the restroom. But when you're farting, you're not resting. You're
resting your bum.
So once I didn't appreciate him doing it, and I think dating and everything, I'll never do that. But right now, we had a game thing in the house where the kids say, who does this sort of. I do. Like anyway, I just use my.
Oh my God!
I think men love the idea. I mean, I've seen a lot of people that have cheated on their wives, and it was just little things that they liked about somebody else.
Hopefully, my husband is not thinking, I'm about to leave this woman.
I think every woman should leave that. There should be an element of mystery to you, right? She should come home and be like, "Ooh, what's she gonna do?"
She's not going to be farting the next 5 minutes. Okay, let's just see. Okay, this is not about me now, really, because. Let's switch this a bit, let's look into why people move in together, because we're not just going to sit here and say no. The reality is we live in a westernized world where things are a bit different. Back home, you pretty much stay in your father's house until it's time for you to move out. Here, we know that people move in together for so many reasons. Financial reasons, it might be a case where I'm out of work and I just can't afford it and we've been dating for a year. Let's talk about that,
On point.
Yeah.
On point. I mean, when we moved together, we were saving towards our magical wedding and all of that. So we, just being together, we were able to save money on rent, save money on bills. We had just one pot where money was going out. So that made a lot of sense for us. And we couldn't start explaining that to everyone. So for us, financial was definitely our little secret that is now out.
That's not so secret anymore.
Joe Maxwell decided to bring out, like, Joe, you didn't have to go there.
I agree. I mean, obviously, if there's a reason for you doing what you need to do, then by all means go ahead. And if it makes you happy as well, because like I said, mine was just a personal thing. And having said that, it doesn't mean that tomorrow, if I find myself in one of the situations that I may not do, like moving or something like that. But from a fantasy point of view, I want to move into my husband's home. That's what I want to do. But if it means that I can't survive or he can't survive unless we're together, then we'll will see
the
how
need
that
has to be done.
you know.
So I guess why do we, Bola, just picking on what you said, why do we worry so much about what people think? You know, if I want to marry, you know, move in with you, I want to move in. Why do we worry so much?
I think, like you said earlier, we're elements of we always need permission to do things as human beings. We're like, what do you think? What do you think? We go around thinking, and yeah, that's the reason. Because we want to conform, we want to fit in. We don't want everyone to think that you know
you're shacking up with someone that you guys are getting physical and everything.
And
you're sinning every day. I'm like, oh, you know what?
You just said something there. Sinning every day. I think most often the people who worry about what people are thinking, it always often comes from the religious side of things. We worry what would that pastor say.
You know the thing is, in a way, it's correct because there was no way I could have proved that we're not going to be able to sleep together. I don't know of anyone else that would be able to do it, but obviously there'll be strong people out there. Even for other people that were saying that we're not sleeping together, people are like, are you sure he's okay? Kind of thing. So it's just about what we think about life.
Right. So another question I've got for you guys is, let me look at my Q notes now. Right, so think about when things go sour, like, you know, you've moved in, right? Let's play devil's advocate. And I think that's probably why some people don't want to move in. They're probably thinking, okay, when we move in, I'm not sure 100%, and then when we have to go our separate ways, and then what? You know, so we also have to think about that. So you've moved in with people, and I know a lot of people, they kind of carry on in their marriage or relationship because we've moved in. What would people say? Again, what would people say? You know, we've been living together for 3-4 years, and we know we cannot stand each other. But because we've been dating for 10 years, we've been living for 3 years.
It's like, let's just do it.
Let's just do it.
I couldn't imagine what a worst nightmare would be other than that. You know, like, let's just do it just because we've been living. That would be such a bad idea in, you know, every sense of the word. But then you say this, there's a friend of mine whose sister had been living with her boyfriend for 9 years.
My goodness.
So the 9 years are the ones that you and I know. They've been living together. I don't know if they've dated before moving, but 9 years.
That's a lot.
And my question was why? And they're like, oh, they just wanted to know more about
9
years. And you're still
getting the ring on your finger.
Exactly. Do you get my point? You know, and then the brother dated somebody for 7 years. They lived together, and then it didn't work out. And because you know she took it so bad, she moved to Canada. Just move.
So that's the thing. When it goes sour, then you know you've got to now think about, you know, if you, and some people even have joint investment together, and they're not married.
Buy
you know,
homes together.
You buy homes together. It's like you're tying yourself. You might as well just get married.
Exactly. After 8 years, I mean, for me, I always think if after a year you don't know if you want to marry me or not, or we don't know if we want to marry each other, move. Stay away from one another.
I mean, personally, even the same way I approach relationships is how I approach business. If something is not working out, don't
try to force it.
Don't try to force it. Don't flog a dead horse. I mean, for me, I think I got my freedom from Mary J. Blige, actually. There's this song she had, how can I love somebody else if I can't
love myself?
Oh, yeah.
You have to love yourself
when it's time to let go. That song gave me freedom. And every time I found myself in a situation that this thing is not making us both happy, or it's not making me happy.
Exactly.
Moving on, you know, so
being totally honest with yourself.
So I guess another tricky question, because I know a lot of people say, well, I'm one of those that would like to just know it all. I want to know, I want to find out everything before I get married. I want to find out after we're married that he can do nothing, or she can do this, or he throws his knickers on the floor and all of that. How valid is that statement?
I think it's invalid. It's very invalid. The reason why I think so is because you could get married to someone, and after you get married, what if the person had an accident? Or what if something happens? Are you going to then walk away? I don't think that's a good enough reason to do, you know, because I have a friend that got married. After she got married, she had a really terrible illness. And she still has a solid marriage. But other people can't understand it. So I think that's it for me, though. I think... So
you think it's good to move in to get to know the other person better?
I don't think it's good to move in anymore, because now I'm older and I see the wrong of our ways or whatever, and I see how it could have impacted other people or young people growing up, and they would have thought maybe you were a bad example, whatever. So that's the only reason why, not because I think it's bad to say. But I just think that in terms of getting to know if that person can deliver the goods, I think it's not a good enough reason, because love should be bigger than that. You should know that you love this person to be able to be with that person regardless of what you face.
And also, you can't actually, I don't believe you can actually know everything about anyone just living with them before marriage, because there's a certain kind of leverage that you have before marriage, and the marriage comes into it. I'm not married married yet, but I do know for a fact that there are certain efforts we make as unmarried couples that maybe when you get married, you kind of like relax a little bit, and that's okay. It's okay to relax a little bit. Otherwise, what's the point of being on show all the time? But I don't think that is good enough to move in
for you to move in
just because you want to find out these things.
Okay.
That's my personal opinion.
Okay. It's a little bit of a complex one.
It is. It is.
Do as I say, or do as I do.
I know, right?
It's a tricky one.
And I guess it always goes into, there's always this other element of, you're moving with somebody and then suddenly,
I think my mother would have killed me, actually. Mommy, I'm so sorry.
Well, let's hope she's not watching. She's not watching this episode.
She's bound to.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's again another topic that it goes, you know what I mean, goes both ways. The way you obviously do, leave in Africa or Nigeria is different from how you'd leave here. I'm sure if it was back home, this was obviously here, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Of course, if you were back home, you'll be in your mother's house, he'll be in his parents' house, and it'll just be, we plan a wedding, and then you a couple of months before the wedding, you already have a house that you both move in together
and start building.
Yes, even nights that you have to do like late nights, so you'll be like, you probably go and form a human being with the pillow on your bed to make you look like you're still in bed, or you'll be like, Joe, I'm calling you. I see it on TV. I see it on TV. Girl, you gotta believe me.
But I like it.
I see it on TV. I just be like, Bola, just tonight I'm coming to your house.
Yeah, what did you do?
Yes, what did you do?
Mine was very different because, on blast. I didn't see that coming.
Interesting.
Okay, what did I do? I actually didn't move in.
Okay.
We actually didn't move in together.
Okay.
We didn't move in. But, we didn't move in, but it was almost like we're living together because, I was living with my mom. I didn't want her to feel like, it was okay for me to just pack my bag. So I actually packed all my things the day before my marriage to his house. But, there were nights I was...
Okay. And there were late night outs.
There were nights that, of course, there were late nights and everything here and there, but we didn't actually move in together. Not to say I'm against it, no. I'm indifferent. You know what I mean? I'm indifferent regardless.
But then having said that, when you finally moved in, wasn't it a completely new experience? When you now knew that, okay, this is it. There's no going back to mommy's house if I'm angry or...
I think with that, it's different because when you're married, depends on... People marry for different reasons. I got married and I knew this is it. So whether or not I find out that he throws his knickers on the floor or he doesn't leave the toilet seat up and all of that malarkey, I'll just have to deal with it. I just have to work with it. We'll talk about it and find how we can do it. Obviously, some people have bigger issues in terms of he's not sexually active and all of that. But so those are deeper issues that thankfully none of us have to deal with. But I guess that's one of the reasons why a lot of people feel like, I want to know what I want to know what I'm dealing with. But again, that's why I'm very indifferent. And and I'd say that every relationship has its own DNA. You decide what works for you. It's your choice. I mean, we've talked about it on the set here today. You do you. You are the architect of your own happiness. Yeah. Ultimately, you define your life. And that's it for us today. But before we go, we always like to find out what our guest pet peeves are. So I will be starting with you, my lovely Ngozee. So what is that one thing that you cannot stand? You just don't like.
My pet peeve has got to be rude people. Uncouth people I cannot deal with. I can't stand rudeness in any way, shape or form in people. Like, I just think it doesn't cost anything to be polite.
Give me an example of...
Joe, where do I start?
Just give us one. Just one. Just one that it's just common sense that you can.
Here's this one. You hold the door for people, they go through like you're their doorkeeper.
And no, say thank you.
No, thank you.
Yeah,
you stop for people to go past. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Correct. Those little things. It's just the little things. I just find them so rude. And if you're rude, we ain't gonna deal.
Yeah.
Done. That's it.
Agree. Over to you, Paula.
Mine, like I said, I've become a more complex human being.
So hold on. If you're complex, you better not have a pet peeve.
Right? My pet peeve, my major one is actually the concept of frenemies. I don't get close to people anymore per se, but when I do, we have our terms and conditions.
Yeah.
This is what I expect from you as a friend. I know a lot of people, but I don't call everyone a friend.
Yeah.
So frenemies.
So you don't like when someone just rolls up and says, "Oh, Bola's my friend," or my best friend.
I'm happy with that. I'm happy for us to all just be jolly, but I just hate having someone so close to you. And some people just try to get close to you enough so that they have enough scoop on you, not because they love you or they want to be loyal.
Do you know what? That is 100%.
Yeah.
And you know, it's so sad that those are the people that should be the dearest to you when it comes to friendship.
Exactly.
But it's yeah.
Because you go into the relationship thinking that, okay, I mean, I know there's a friend I have now, it's so weird. We more or less had a conversation. I was like, when she first came to my life, I'm like, you know what, I don't do friends. I don't do this closeness. And when I saw that she was not going to get out of my life, we had to have a discussion. These are my expectations. Can we work? Handshake, we're friends.
That's good, I think.
Honestly, and you know,
But do you think that people who do this frenemies are people who want something from you?
It's not necessarily because they want something from you. Some people, it might just be envy. It might just be something you have.
And it grows over time. Like I said, you know, for example, some people, they initially love you. Oh, I love Bola, I love Ngozee. And suddenly, because nothing is happening in their life, and Bola or Joe is constantly in their timeline, without them knowing, they start, so there's this thing that's growing in them, envy, anger, you know, and so, you know, it just grows. Even sometimes they don't even know.
But how do you know that way?
I mean, a typical example is
like,
like,
maybe I'm naive because I want someone to like tell me it's my
you would know. Somehow it feeds back to you.
You would know.
And you know the amazing thing about life is that somehow, sorry I have to bring this up, but this is my belief, is God always makes things, orders things.
Yes.
Things,
I agree.
The universe, as people like to put it, will reorder things in a way that you would know.
You would know.
You would get clues.
I know the ones around me that are not 100%, but hey, it is what it is. When I have the guts to actually have that energy to have that conversation, we will have that conversation.
Okay, I'm coming to you guys for lessons. I have to.
Right, thank you so much, guys. It has been fun today. Thank you
so much for having us. This has been fun.
Yeah, I better go now and start thinking. I should have been taking notes. Like, this. I think I would. You know, I'm actually looking forward to watching this episode over again and just hopefully take a few notes. Thank you so much. It was lovely conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching today's episode. I hope you guys were able to learn a lot from today's episode. If you'd like to join in today's conversation, please use the hashtag #TheJMShow. And if you'd like us to talk about anything at all, or you want to ask us questions, or you want us to raise things on the talk show, email us at info@joemaxwellshow.com. Until next time, have a wonderful week. I am your host, Joe Maxwell.